Motion passes. Moving on to agenda items 9.6, discussion of and possible action to authorize the litigation challenging Texas Foundation School Program under Article 8, Section 1E of the Texas Constitution. Presenter myself. So, July 4th of this year, I sent an email to the district and I made a Facebook post asking for this agenda item. This has been something I've been looking at for quite a while. When I first came on the board, I asked Mr. Durham and Dr. Howard, why don't we just not pay it? And obviously that's not the right thing to do, get you in a lot of legal ramifications for doing that. So I started working with the attorneys and just kind of tossed my idea around. And this is what we've landed on. So, Mr. Durham, could you come up to the podium for a second? So last month, this board approved the budget for the 26-27 school year, correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
MCAT was here tonight, and they said they'd have certified property values in the next few days.
That is correct, by July 25th.
So as the board president, I have the authority to call a special meeting, right?
Yes, sir.
I would like to call a special meeting next week to go ahead and set the tax rate for MISD.
Unfortunately, we're not able to do that because we cannot set the tax rate prior to TEA issuing the district's maximum compression rate.
So is it a fair statement to say that this 7 elected officials elected by the community of Midland, the taxpayers of Midland, do not have the authority to set the Tier 1 M&O tax rate for this community?
Without being penalized, yes, sir.
So, as an elected official, I was elected by almost 5,400 people in District 7. We hear all the time in Midland how taxes are going up, taxes are going up. I believe, don't quote me on this because I don't work for the other taxing entities, I believe we're the only taxing entity that does not have the authority to set their own tax rate. So in theory, we already approved the budget, so we know how much money we need for next year. When Austin is compressing our tax rate higher than the amount that we've already approved and already said we need, so we can send money back to the state, that is essentially a property tax, a statewide property tax. For the 25-26 school year, they set our tax rate $83 million higher than what we essentially needed, right? That's the budget we approved. We're about to write them a check next month on August 15th for $83 million. If we as a board could work with you, you're the CFO, you know the finances of this district better than anybody. Why can't we set a tax rate to have a no new revenue and give Midland taxpayers their $83 million back?
Unfortunately, that's not how it works with the overall school finance system.
I know that, and you know that. That was just an example. That's essentially this lawsuit in a nutshell. We as elected officials do not have the authority to set the tax rate for Midland ISD. And I just find that a huge problem. So right now, for every dollar we're taxing the community on, we're sending roughly 25 cents of that back to the state. It's a statewide property tax, and it's in violation of Article 8 of the Texas Constitution. Texas Constitution, Article 8 says that the state of Texas cannot have a state property tax. Well, when you're making school districts set a tax rate higher than what their district needs in order for us to send money back to the state, that's a statewide property tax. You can paint an apple orange and it's still an apple. I mean, all we are is the middleman tax collector for them. We're collecting the taxes, we're sending it to the state. So that's kind of the premise on this. If y'all can't tell at this point, I'm not a big fan of taxes. I don't mind paying my fair share. I don't want to go back to the 1800s and have to drive down dirt roads, but don't tax me more than we need to. And I just think the Midland taxpayers, we've been on the hook for a long time. Midland County is property wealthy. Our community is not. I believe we have almost 60% of our students that are economically disadvantaged according to the state of Texas guidelines, correct? So if Robin Hood is truly doing what it was designed to do, why would you take money out of a school district that has 60% of its students economically disadvantaged? Why would you take money out of Houston ISD when they have a huge economically disadvantaged student population? Why would you take money out of Travis County? There's parts of Travis County that is extremely wealthy, but they're taking $600 million a year from Travis County. I think this is just absurd. It's absurd to me, and I'm willing to fight it. And I've talked to Dr. Howard about this. I've talked to you, Tucker. We can sit here on this stage and we can complain about it all the time. I've done it. Ms. Burleson's talked about recapture. Dr. Freeze, there's not a single person on this stage that hasn't talked about recapture. But until you have 4 people, elected school board members in the state of Texas, say enough's enough, you're going to stop stealing our community's money and challenge it. I think I'm right. They think they're right.